Hello, everybody. Welcome to Radish on the Runway. I am super excited today. One of my closest friends is going to be joining us today. I know a couple weeks ago you guys met Tamika of Chi-Town Vegan, but today you are meeting Niehla O of Homegirls Hummus, and you are going to love her just as much as I love her. This is going to be such a fun podcast today. And if you happen to be on YouTube, I need you to subscribe to my channel. All right, guys, we are about to get started any moment now. Please subscribe. So you may want to go ahead and pause the video so you can go ahead and subscribe. Hey, I don't see you yet.
Oh my God, you don't see me? Oh, I have to start the video. Because I was doing that. You know
How
what I'm saying?
cute are you?
So cute. No, I'm just Hey darling.
How are you doing?
I am doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You look flawless as usual.
You. And you look flawless and fresh and fancy and curly and girly, moving and grooving.
So, welcome to Radish on the Runway, Niehla.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you.
So I introduced you prior to you coming in, and I told everyone that you and I are very close friends, and this should be a fun, light podcast today.
It should be.
Yes, yes, yes. So first off, let's just get it out the way. We are going through two pandemics, a pandemic that us Black people have been going through for centuries, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. So just tell me, how are you coping? How are you dealing with all those issues?
Teslin, this is one of the most challenging times that I can remember, of my entire life. It's one of the most challenging times personally, as well as in terms of the culture, of African American people living in this country, not to mention the millions of African descendants all around the world. First and foremost, I never imagined that in the year of our Lord 2020, we would be going through a pandemic. What in the world? I mean, we have sent people to the moon. We have new iPhones coming out every couple months. Technology is at an all-time high. Yet our society is so archaic in terms of the way that we treat each other and the way that we handle our healthcare system. It's ridiculous. And so this has been a challenging time, and definitely prayer and watching funny movies and goodness, talking to good friends, checking up on them checking up on me, sleeping. Escape, right? So sleeping, those are the kinds of things that, I've been doing, making sure that I really talk to my loved ones, and because that brings me so much joy. Talking to my mom every day and listening to her sing and her antics, that's always a good time. And then talking to my crazy friends on Marco Polo and making up songs and things like that. Like, everybody has to cope in the best way they know how. I will say Amazon's been coming to visit me quite often.
Yeah, me too.
Shopping is therapeutic as well. And so those kinds of things kind of help to buffer, but they don't mask, because once you wake up from your nap, once you turn off that music, once that movie is over, once you ended that call with your friends, these problems still exist.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have been able to participate in a protest. I've never done it in my life. It was my first time. It was an amazing experience. And the elders were proud. They were on the side of the road like, hey, I see y'all and I'm proud of y'all, because you have to take a stand.
Yeah, so we go back a long ways, right? We've been knowing each other for about 11 years, I would say.
Yes, I know, it's well over a decade.
Yeah, I think I met you at a fashion show. Do you want to tell the story about the whole fashion show incident?
I met you. Oh yeah. I met you at this fashion show. It was way out in the burbs. For those of you who don't know, I am a plus size designer as well. I have lived many lives. When you're a creative, you have a lot of outlets, right? And you owe it to yourself to pursue those outlets. Anyway, so I, I was in search of plus models for, my clothing. And I was going to as many plus fashion shows as I could attend. And I saw this young lady. She was so cute and so sweet. She had these gray eyes. I was like, wow. Um, and I just watched the girls. I watched her, everybody walk, and I was just like, okay, I just see a couple girls here I really like. So after having the opportunity to chat with Tesla Butler, I was like, oh, she's so sweet. She's a beautiful girl. She's a real plus size girl, like not a size 10, and padding it up. So
Right.
she fit my clothes very well. And so, I think that's kind of was the beginning of our friendship. You were calling me ma'am. I said, no, we don't do that. There is an age gap, but you're not 17, boo. Not that. We're not doing that. And so our friendship was forged from that very day.
Yeah, okay, first off, Nyla's being very nice right now, and I don't mind her sharing the information. Basically, I tried on a skirt for Nyla, and she looked at it like, wait a minute, that skirt looks a little different.
Honey, them yams, honey, that onion. That skirt was like, whoa. I was like, oh, honey, you got what people pay good money for. I said, all right, Ryan, we're going to put you in pencil skirts. No A-line skirts for you, pencil skirts, honey, because that figure needed pencil skirts. So,
And guys, I also called her ma'am because I was fresh from the South. So I had just made it from Arkansas to Chicago. So
honey, she still had a little mustard greens behind her ears, honey. She had good.
Exactly. So since we're talking about fashion, so tell me what inspired you to do like design clothing?
That has always been a lifelong goal because I remember being a teenager and looking for cute clothing and even being a young adult and, college graduate and looking for cute clothes that reflected the kind of style that I wanted to present to the world, saying this is who I am, this is how I operate, and looking for really cute clothes that really showcase that. And it was hard for me to find those. And so, I did go to school for marketing, but once I graduated, I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and get in the fashion program because it had been a desire of mine for a very long time to design a line of clothing. And what I didn't know at the time was that my grandmother also had dreams of being a plus size fashion designer as well.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was so interesting and so full circle when we actually had a conversation about that. So yeah, that was what started my journey.
That is awesome. Well, your whole fashion sense is just so dope. I remember you wearing stuff that when you were living here in Chicago that I would never even dream of wearing, but you are a person that's unique and you don't mind like doing stuff outside the box with your fashion, which I love.
Definitely will take risks in the fashion area, and knowing your body is key to that. Knowing the parts that you should really like showcase and the things that you should play down. And I think when people get to know their body type and know what works for them, that's how you develop your sense of fashion around who you are, to make sure that whatever you put on, it looks jamming.
Absolutely. And not only that, you love makeup, right?
I do, and makeup
Tell
loves
me what
me.
inspired you. Now, the thing is, Nyla is not going to brag. So I want to let you guys know that she is a celebrity makeup artist. She's done a lot of celebrities. Just tell me your journey and how you became a makeup artist and what inspired you to become a makeup artist as well.
Okay, so I have always toyed around with makeup. I've always been in love with makeup. Once I realized that there were companies that were creating products for, my complexion and things that would show up well on me. Because, of course, when you're younger and you don't find what you need to show up the way you wanted to, then you get a little unorthodox with your approach to makeup. Like sometimes maybe using eyeliner on the lips. Like when I was in high school, And let me just tell my age right now, because I am, a little old lady Sadie, but it's okay. I don't look it, so it doesn't matter. Um,
Exactly.
but Wet n Wild was the thing, the Wet n Wild lipsticks. I mean, first of all, you're a high school student and you got 99 cents for a lipstick, so you can do that. But 521, which was like a beautiful blue-based fuchsia frosty lipstick, was the jam. And so we were all wearing it. And of course, your girl, I got to be different. I got to stand out. So I found this jamming navy blue eyeliner, and I would put that on my lips first. And then I would put my 521 on. And I had this amazing violet on the lips. And I was just pop locking and big bopping and just being me and looking jamming. And everybody was like, what's that? Even in high school, like doing my friends' makeup, like after school or sometimes in class. My religion teacher, I went to Catholic school, he got really irritated with me one day and took all of my makeup contraband. But he was like, enough. I was like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be sitting in front of the class doing my face while you were lecturing. I'm so sorry. I had no idea, sir. So I have always had a love affair with makeup. I never once dreamed that I could make a career out of it as well. So once again, after completing college and working in corporate America and realizing that that wasn't really the space for me, and there had to be more, and I had to be happy. I kind of, I went to fashion school, and I'm like, okay, this fashion program is done. I've done my 2 years, in fashion school, uh, while working in corporate America. So I said, okay, now the school is over. I need to figure out what I can do every day to encourage me to be creative so that I can also work on my line. And when I come home from work, I don't feel depleted and stressed out because I was working in advertising, and that's a very challenging industry. And so I started, thinking about what do I love to do so much I would do it for free. And I'm like, oh my God, I love doing makeup. So I started lurking around the Mac counter because Mac was the jam for every girl, especially women of color, because they had our colors. And so I started asking questions about classes and things like that. And I was directed to a 6-month program at Columbia College in Chicago in their continuing education program. And I went ahead and took it and, started my journey to that career, which I still am a makeup artist by trade. I love it. I love the transforming process. I love taking a woman and taking her from A all the way to Z. I like to see the tears well up in her eyes, but I'm always like, don't you cry. But I like for people to know that you can look however you want to look. And it's not saying that the way that you look is bad, but there's nothing wrong with enhancing your features. People are so caught up if they have a dark mark on their face, hyperpigmentation, if their skin tone is uneven, if their eyes are a little small, if their lips are a little, narrow, if their nose is whatever. Like makeup can transform your life and really give you the confidence to move in the world the way that you want to be seen. And really, it opens the door of opportunities for everyone because it gives you a new lease on life. You become a new person. You walk differently. You move differently. You interview for a job differently. You conduct yourself in your relationships differently. Things are different. And so it's such a transforming thing. And it is really, I feel like it's part of a ministry for me. I feel like God is using my hands because sometimes I just do stuff and I don't know what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. Like I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing it. So I feel like it's part of God using me to be a blessing to someone else. And I'm very grateful for that talent and that gift.
Absolutely. You just basically answered my question because I was going to say, how does it make you feel when you make women look amazing? Because, of course, it's important, how we feel on the inside, and we know that the inside is important. But, your physical look or your physical appearance is very important as well. It can help you with your self-esteem and so on. So that was actually a question that I was going to ask you, and you answered it for me. So
Well, I'm glad that I talked so much that I went ahead and answered the question before you even asked. Tesla knows that I am a talker. I will give you all the answers. If you ask one question, I will give you 20 years worth of answers. So I'm so glad.
yeah. So I have to ask you, who is one of your favorite celebrities that you've worked with?
Goodness. One of the most memorable, and I would have to say my favorite, is going to be Angela Bassett. She was a true class act in every sense of the word. And she chose me out of like 6 or 7 other artists in Chicago. They were doing, looking for a makeup artist to be her personal artist for a film that we were working on. A film was called Of Boys and Men. You guys, if you frequent BET, it's shown a lot on BET. Of Boys and Men. Yeah, that was the name of the film. It was such a great coming of age story for a young Black boy on the West Side. And it was, some of it was based off of a true story. But she was, first of all, absolutely stunning, flawless skin. She was very classy. She was very open to share and teach in terms of how to conduct myself on set, what things I should be listening for, being readily available to powder and, just making sure that, I know how that I should maneuver on set. It was an amazing opportunity. And she is by far been one of my favorites. I've had like, a couple, like I'd say 2 people who were like, I've just been like, oh my God, this was the best experience ever, but she was definitely the first one and the favorite.
Wow. That's so great to hear because we look up to Angela Bassett. Like, she's one of my favorite actresses. And
Yes.
so to hear you see your interaction with her on a different level than just the level of us watching television, and that it was a pleasant, experience, just really makes me feel good, because some people don't have those experiences.
No, sometimes, honestly, there are people who I don't want to work with because I don't want to be disappointed, or people that I have worked with and they were even on my vision board and I met and I was like, oh, I wish I had met you. Now, when I see you on television or in pictures, every time I see you, I associate with you with a bad memory, and it's unfortunate. And of course, everybody has off days or whatever the case may be. But sometimes the core of people and the true essence of a person is how they treat people who don't have any power. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Of course, and so if you treat people who are providing a service less than, it really, just like when you're at a restaurant, right? How you treat your waitress and your hostess and all those things. If you treat people a certain way, it says a lot about your character. And so I feel like, people who have strong character, they know how to treat people who provide a service. Because again, I'm not a servant, but I am providing a service based on my expertise. And so it's important that people realize, like, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. How would you want someone to treat your daughter, your niece, your cousin, your sister, or treat you? That's how you should treat people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Niehla, I don't think people realize how much goes into applying makeup. People, like, I know you've experienced this, and I would love for you to talk and discuss about how, like, some people think that $50, that's enough for a makeup application, when it takes a lot of time and skill. So could you touch on that for us, please?
You want me to break it on down? Here's the thing. Whether you are going to a makeup counter, which in these days, I don't know how that's going to work anymore, but if you have someone come to your home or if you go to them, but typically you're going to have someone come to your home. First and foremost, realize that is a luxury service. And when I say it is a luxury, this does not have to be. You don't have to. You don't have to get, your makeup done, but it is something that you're treating yourself to. So you realize that this person is bringing their products, they're bringing their skill. They are bringing a chair, typically. They're bringing, they're using their gas to come to you. And so when you have this kind of thing, like, somebody's really bringing you a whole makeup counter. They have invested in their kit, sanitization, all these things, right? And so you just want to make sure that you are respectful of that. $50, I mean, here's the thing. From door to door, gas, products, all the things that you don't have. Because it's so cute. Sometimes I'll have people who say to me, do I need anything? I'm like, girl, no, you don't need a thing. Just, you come, be hydrated, make sure your face is clean, and we're all good. And I think sometimes people don't even realize, like, this person is bringing me a whole makeup counter experience. They're bringing me everything that I need. So I don't need to bring anything. All I have to do is be present. They are understanding my face shape. They're understanding my complexion, especially as women of color. Good Lord, everyone does not know how to do our makeup skillfully and execute it in a way that we don't look like we are performing at the drag show. And there's nothing wrong with a drag performer, but if you're a woman, my goal on an everyday basis is not to look like a woman who, used to be a man, or, a man who is putting on makeup to look like a woman because he's getting ready to perform on stage. So it is a very subtle art, and sometimes less is best. And I think it really takes a skilled and trained artist to understand that. And I feel like everybody nowadays is a makeup artist, a photographer, a model, and everything. And that's fine to have those aspirations. I'm a multi-hyphenate, so it's fine. But make sure you put in the time, put in the research, put in the effort to understand your client base, be experienced on working on every complexion, and make sure that you come in with a positive attitude. But guess what? When they bring all that to the table, their price is their price.
Yeah.
Their price is their price. And just like you go to work, wherever you work, audience, when you come in and they're like, now, Sarah, do you feel like today was one of those days where you earned, this 50K salary? No. They trust you to come in, to bring your A game, to do what you're supposed to do, and you get paid for what you bring to the table. So remember that everyone who provides a service, whether it's a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a wardrobe stylist, and I'm speaking on behalf of my people in, my industry, we come with a talent. We come with a demeanor. We are trained. We have experience. We understand that sometimes the person sitting in your chair does not want to talk, or sometimes they need an encouraging word. All of those things add value to us. So when you talk about somebody coming and spending this time, it may take about 3 hours or so from door to door and back home. Do you really think $50 is something that is valuing and honoring that person's talent, skill, and craft? I don't think so.
Right.
Oh goodness, I feel so emotional about that. Thank you for allowing me to say those things, because it's so true, Tesla. Anyone who's worked a job knows how it feels to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And when a person feels appreciated and trusted, they are free to bring their A game, and you're gonna get what you pay for. I promise you that.
Yes. So you actually touched on something that I wanted to mention. One of my previous guests was a plus size model, and we talked about the difference between like an Instagram model compared to like an agency sign model. I would like for you to touch on the difference between a YouTube makeup artist and a professional trained makeup artist. I do know that there are some great YouTubers out there. Let me just make that statement. But I just kind of want you to just give it a general idea of the difference between those two makeup artists.
Oh goodness, Tesla, this is a wonderful question. Golly gee willikers, thank you. Here's the reality. YouTube and Instagram makeup artists typically fall into that influencer category. And typically when they're doing makeup on themselves, which is wonderful. They do a lot of transformational things, things that wow the audience, right? You can put a whole face full of color correcting concealers to bring you back to your regular tone. And that's wonderful. And that's for a wow effect. A lot of regular makeup artists, people who are working every day as makeup artists, we look to those people to encourage us, to inspire us, to influence us, to give us new things to add to our repertoire. And I would never, poo on those people. I definitely feel like there's a place. There are people who are specifically influencers. There are people who were makeup artists, industry makeup artists, who transitioned into being influencers. And then there are people who, they're just there and they know how to do makeup on their face, and it's just like, okay, and I see you and I know that you know how to do makeup on your face. What is your experience in this industry? Because if you just came out of high school and you are jamming in makeup but you have no professionalism, you don't show up on time for your appointments, you don't know how to clean your kits, your brushes are dirty, you are cross-contaminated, you don't know how to get in and shut up and do the makeup application. You know how to have, you don't know how to have appropriate conversations. Those are the things that people look to skilled makeup artists for. So when you have your influencer that used to be a makeup artist, when you have your person who's solely an influencer, and every once in a while you're just going to have your regular makeup artist who is interested in sharing and caring, a lot of those people are frustrated, and they talk. They get on here and they talk about the journey of being a makeup artist because they want people to know what it entails. I have had an experience where I had to do a young lady's makeup because she paid for somebody that she found on Instagram. And of course, this girl's page was jamming. And of course, pictures can be jamming because we all know about those little apps that we can use to make things look amazing. So she booked this artist. The artist was supposed to show up to do her prom. The artist never showed up. She called and canceled 10 minutes before she was supposed to be there. Lack of professionalism. And so now you have this crying 17-year-old, 16-year-old coming to me and saying, I had booked an artist and they didn't show up, and I got to figure out how to squeeze you in to my client rotation because I never want you to go home and be sad and be in tears. I was once a 16, 17-year-old girl. I know how it feels to be disappointed. And so again, it is great to have a platform and to push products and to show people how to use it, and you know how to use it on yourself. But can you do makeup on other people? Can you do makeup on people who don't look anything like you, that come from a totally different racial background? Can you do it effectively? Do you know what's going to work well on this person's face shape? And then can you deliver that with the best customer service ever? If your teenager's sitting in the chair crying because she doesn't feel like her hair looks good, do you know how to make her feel good? Can you pull out a curling iron and help her fix it? You know, those are the things that you're going to look for in an artist. Again, I speak to the value of hiring a makeup artist and hiring someone who has experience. And I will say this because it frustrates me so much. I pay monthly for a website because I'm a business. Get an Instagram page. Know the difference between someone who is invested and someone who's just a novice. And there's nothing wrong with being a novice. Everyone starts somewhere, but don't always choose price over quality and say, oh, and some of those Instagram people are charging a hell of a lot of money, and you thinking, oh, she did makeup on somebody from the Basketball Wives or the Real Housewives, and okay, that's fine. Some of those people are getting facials every day. They don't know how to work with people who have hyperpigmentation or who have textured skin or who have a certain eye shape or who have a certain face shape, and you want to, take those things and kind of remix them. Everybody is not able. So it's very important that you get someone who has a skill level that is appropriate to your needs. And don't trip on paying them. You've already paid, your wedding day. You are coming out of at least $7,000, $8,000.
Yeah.
$250 is not going to kill you. Your cake probably costs the same amount as your makeup. Your pictures last forever. Your photographer alone is going to be about $2,500 if at least, if you opted for somebody who's professional. So the two things you want to take into consideration, the person who's capturing the moment and the moment itself. How much did I pay for my hair? I mean, how many bundles of hair did I buy? How much did they cost me? And to get them sewn in my head, and then I want to pay my makeup artist $50? One of these things is not like the other. Get a grip.
Exactly. That is so true.
I'm sorry, I had to preach, girl.
That's so true, Niehla. I am in agreement with you. And I know how it feels because I'm in the industry as well, like one of those freelance type of industries. How do you think makeup has evolved throughout the years? Do you think we have more of a selection for women of color? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, absolutely. I think that more companies are starting to realize, and especially in this time that we're living in, that the Black dollar is strong and that women of color, whatever color that may be, need an option for their skin. They want to look good too, and they have the money to spend. Again, I'll mention MAC because it's the brand that I have started my love of makeup with and that I continue to have a relationship with. MAC was a pioneer in making sure that they offered color selection for every skin tone, from the darkest to the lightest. And that is extremely important. Not only that, are your products pigmented enough to show up on a deeper skin tone? If you think about a piece of construction paper, you get a piece of white construction paper, you get a piece of brown construction paper, and you put a color down on that. The color's going to read differently on the white piece of construction paper than it is on a piece of brown construction paper. So you know that you have to make sure that your color is going to show up the same way, because our skin hue is going to absorb those colors. So you got to make sure the color shows up the same way. And of course, have the skill set to make it work. But makeup has definitely evolved over the years. There's definitely more of an offering for women of color, and I love that. And even the lines that are coming out now that are created by women of color, for women of color. When you look at Juvia's Place, when you look at the lip bar, I'm just like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. And I'm so grateful to see Black women, especially because I'm a Black woman, so I have to say this, who are contending against some of these major brands for those dollars, because we want to support our own. There's nothing wrong with buying a mainstream product, but there's a place for the little guy. And we want to make sure that he has the opportunity to be just as successful as the cosmetic conglomerate, And so, in terms of makeup styles, we've gone from ashy tones and to well sculpted makeup application. And then we went through the phase of cake face. And I think that's toned down. So it's more about that natural, beautiful, elegant look. And some people don't realize how much it takes and requires to create a look that is soft and pretty. But you're going to have a foundation, a concealer, a finishing powder, an eyebrow pencil, a mascara, several eyeshadows, all these things. And here's the thing. Like when you have somebody come to your house, even if I don't really wear that much makeup, I just want something simple, that's fine. It's going to cost you the same amount to get a simple makeup application as it costs to get a dramatic makeup application, because I'm still using the same brushes and the same products. The color choice is just different.
Wow. I actually read an article that stated that it may be the hardest to do an application that makes you look natural. Is that true? Do you agree?
Absolutely, because your blending has to be precise. Your blending has to be on point, and it has to look like you did not put 25 products on this person's face, although you may have used 25 products. Like I'm looking at you and I know that you did your makeup, and honey, your makeup is beautiful and fresh, but I know you have at least 8 products on your face.
Yeah.
To look like you have a fresh face on, at least 8 products. And it may be like 8 to 12 products, but to look like, soft and pretty, it requires a skill, because you really have to blend it and make it seamlessly, melting it to that person's skin.
Wow. Thank you for that. And then one more question about the makeup, and then we'll move on. I know that a lot of my audience want to know what type of brands you're using, what type works for women of color, from the lightest to the darkest. Please tell us.
So honestly, makeup is makeup. It's a series of powders and waxes and oils and things combined to create a product. You can find a good product from the cheapest to the most expensive. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh no, I have to have this amount, and I'm only going to use Touche L'Eclat, and I'm only going to use Dior, and I'm only going to use, you can find something as simple as Elf. You can find something as expensive as, Dior or Yves Saint Laurent or any of those products, Chanel, Tom Ford, things like that. The brand name doesn't make it a quality product. How it shows up on the skin is a quality product. And you really have to, that's why it's really important to be able to test those products on the back of your hand to see how they show up, to see what they look like, to see how they're going to look for you and on you. But I did mention, like, MAC Cosmetics, of course, even Bobbi Brown, some ladies like to use Lancome. It's not one of my favorites, but it'll do. For skincare, Estee Lauder is by far one of the better department store brands when it comes to skincare, but, that do skincare and cosmetics, but also really love Kiehl's. But, Juvia's Place, the lip bar, those products, even Black Opal and Black Radiance. There's so many products out there for us. We are not limited. Your makeup bag should look, like a whole little sprinkle fest of different products, because you should try things. Yeah. And not being afraid to try them. If you see something at the beauty supply store that you like while you're picking up your hair color or your bundle, go ahead and buy it for $5.99 and try it out.
I love it. You also mentioned skincare, and I know that you are a believer in good skincare, because you have to have the nice skin underneath all that so that the makeup application can go on smoother. Is that correct?
Honey, because you cannot have a pot cake face. Meaning, like, you know how you cook something and the bottom of the pot burns? So now you got all these little situations at the bottom of your pot. You're not going to cook on that. You're going to wash that out,
Right.
make sure it's clean before you cook again. The same thing for your face. Washing your face, moisturizing your face, conditioning your face, making sure that your skin is at its best. We all have problematic situations, some more than others, but do the best for your skin to make sure that the texture is on point. Make sure you're not dehydrated, because once you put that foundation, any liquid or cream product on your face and your skin is dehydrated, your skin is going to suck that up and it's going to texturize and it's going to look a little crazy. So making sure that you are washing and moisturizing your skin on a regular basis, you know, especially if you are a makeup wearer, is key to having a flawless makeup application, and also being able to run to the grocery store without feeling like you need to pile 25 products on your face.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Thank you for explaining that. So let's just talk about your transition to California. Now, you were born and raised in Chicago. You are a Chicagoan. So just tell us a little bit about your transition from Chicago to California.
Yee. So I've been here almost 6 years. This has been the most amazing experience ever. First, because I never thought that I would be able to move across the country on my own. It wasn't something that I thought I was built to do, but God had other plans. And I'm so grateful that I've had this experience, because honestly, if you can pick up and move across the country by yourself, you can do anything. You
Mm-hmm.
can do anything. I didn't have a welcoming committee. I didn't have a family member. I didn't have anything. It was me and Jesus, you know, and a friend of a friend. And, you know, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything lined up. I just had a couple dollars in the bank. You know, as people say, a lot of people tell the story about coming, sleeping on somebody's couch, only having $300. And, you know, it's so interesting because some of those same people that you encounter who have those stories, you meet them, and then the level of arrogance, it's just like, you came from humble beginnings just like everyone else. You had a dream just like everyone else. Don't make the journey harder on someone else. You already paved the way. Um,
Right.
my journey to California has been met with it's been a transforming journey. It's definitely enriched my relationship with God. And I used to say this all the time, and I will continue to say this. Like, when you move to LA, listen, it's either drugs or Jesus. I know these people are weeded out, coked out, cracked out, everything else. This town is an unforgiving place. And if you're not here with the right intentions, it will definitely devour you. So you have to know your why. And you have to always keep that in the back of your mind. Why are you here? For me, I thought it was for a career, and some of it was. I've had some amazing opportunities since I've been here. But I feel like the reason that I was called to move to California was a personal development, being able to cut ties with my family, and I'm very close to them, and I'm a youngest child. So, you know, being a baby, it's kind of hard for people to let you go, and it's kind of hard for you to leave the nest sometimes, even, you know, whatever that means for each person. And so for me, it was a personal journey. I've seen some things, I've experienced some things. This place has taught me a lot about who I am and about what life is all about and how people conduct themselves. And I'm grateful that I moved out here at 39, because at 39, you have your wits about you. I feel like being almost 40, you've had some experiences, you know BS when you see it. And so I was meeting all the BS people, and I was like, oh, look at you, trying to run game. I'm from Chicago, get out of here. So you just look at people, they tell you all this stuff, and you're like, oh, very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. God bless you. Have a great evening, and I'm going to keep it moving. Um, but it's been a wonderful journey. I've met some amazing people. I've had some great experiences in terms of makeup, you know, in terms of my career. But I will say that my personal development has been the biggest thing that has taken place on my journey here in LA.
Wow, wow, wow. Guys, I'm just going to give you a little personal information. When Niehla left, I was torn. Do you hear me?
Oh,
She had like a big, huge birthday, not birthday party, sorry, her going away party. And when I left, because I hadn't cried like during the whole time, but when I left her party, I was driving home crying, crying. And when I
I
tell you
didn't
I was
know that.
crying, I was crying like a baby. I was like, tears was just, because you guys don't realize, Niehla has been such an amazing woman in my life, because she just took that sister role when I moved here to Chicago. And so when she left, it was just like, oh my God.
First of all, I did not know that you had this whole cry fest leaving my going away party. That was such an emotional time, but such an exciting time because I was going on this adventure. But I felt like my job in Chicago was done. I felt like there was nothing else there for me outside of my family, and friends, which are only a plane ride away. Like I needed to see what the rest of my life looked like. And I was the first one in my family, honestly, in my immediate family, to, voluntarily take that leap and be like, okay, we're going to do this. We getting ready to go somewhere else that we don't know nobody, me and Jesus, and we're gonna see how this thing works. And honestly, I will say it's done volumes for my confidence and my ability to make good decisions. And honestly, just make it on my own. I mean, on my own is relative because when you know that you walk with God, you're never on your own. But just to know that, like, I'm out here, I'm by myself. Yeah, I may have some friends along the way. I may meet some people, but at the end of the day, that is life. People don't realize it. It's just you and God. I don't care if you was born as a twin. They weren't born for you, and you can't be born for them. And when they die, you can't die for them, and they can't die for you. It is honestly you by yourself trying to figure it out and do the best that you can and take responsibility for your actions and take responsibility for your life. And that is such a key element in uprooting yourself. And I was ready for the journey because I knew it was going to be a wilderness. And I was like, okay, God, isolate me. Take me out of everything that's comfortable. Let me be like, the people in the Bible. Like, let me experience this. I need this for my development. And it's been the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I'm so grateful.
One more thing about your career, you were featured in Vogue magazine. Can you please tell us about that? Because
I had a feature in Italian Vogue. I know this big black girl was in Italian Vogue, baby. It's so crazy. It was something I never expected. For my birthday, my 40th birthday. I have a friend out here who is a really good photographer. I work with her all the time. She's the only photographer out here that I work with, quite honestly, on a regular basis. And she, I worked with her on so many projects, and she's such a giver like me. And I'm so grateful to be a person who is a certain way, and you always see it come back in your life. So she's a giver like me. And so she was like, Niehla, let's do some pictures for your birthday. Let's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Honey, I didn't know she was going to submit these images to Vogue Italia. And they were featured on the Vogue Italia website. And I might put that picture up to commemorate for my 45th birthday this year. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go back down memory lane because sometimes you got to remember who you are. Like T'Challa's mama told him in Black Panther, remember who you are. And sometimes you got to look at your past and be like, you know what, I'm a little bit jamming. Thank you, Jesus. And so, remembering who you are. And so I was so grateful for that. She shocked me. I was amazed. Like a couple days before my birthday, she sent me the link and I just started crying. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Who would have ever thought this girl from the south side of Chicago, Inglewood, this, plus size, dark skinned black girl was going to be featured on the Italian Vogue website. It was just a blessing. Dreams do come true, and even dreams that you never dreamt. Because Oprah says God can dream bigger dreams for you than you can ever dream for yourself.
Absolutely. That is absolutely beautiful, Niehla. And you are such an inspiration because when people look at that little girl, see that, they can say, I can do that too. I can do that too.
And you don't have to be a jerk. And you don't have to be a jerk. You be a good person and good comes to you. That's how good comes to you when you are a good person.
I love it. And don't worry, guys. I will make sure that I add that picture at the end of this video. So, Niehla, you have a love for makeup, have a love for clothing designing. You have a love for just loving people because you're a positive person. But you also have a love for some chickpeas, don't you? Can you please tell us about your love for chickpeas?
First of all, I like to call myself a bean slayer.
Yes,
um,
you are.
garbanzo beans slash chickpeas. They are my friends, and I come from a family that cooks and cooks really well. My dad cooked really well. My mom cooks really well, and so I developed a love for hummus some years ago, and I had some hummus that was amazing, and I replicated. At least I thought I was trying to replicate their recipe, but honey, what I made, I got to stay humble, but was more jamming. And not only did I think so, but a couple of my friends was like, "Girl, this is good." And so I said, "You know what? One day I'm gonna start this company called Homegirls Hummus." Cut to, a couple years later, living in LA, and I was like, "Well, looks like I'm ready to start this career and start this new business. No time like the present." So started this company called Homegirls Hummus, and the homegirl is making hummus.
I love it. Now, guys, listen. I'm not saying this because she is my friend, but when you try Niehla's hummus, you don't want to try any other hummus. Like, I remember at one point I was in California and I was eating your hummus, and then I had to come back to Chicago, and then I had to go to Jewel Osco and get their regular old hummus. It just wasn't doing the same for me. So her hummus is amazing, guys. It truly is. Can you tell us the different types of hummus that you make?
So right now I have three specific flavors. They are Refresh, which is a lemon basil. We have Prosperity, which is the spinach jalapeno. And then you have Revolution, which is our black bean hummus. Parts of the people. So I also created another flavor that I'm going to do. It's something like an original, because you know how you have your original hummus that doesn't have all the flavors, but it's going to be olive based. I've been experimenting with that, and it's so savory, so delicious. The flavor is not as strong as the others, but it's not just like a plain hummus. It really has a good flavor to it. So I'll be introducing that as well.
I love it. Now, you're great with the hummus because you came up with different recipes for using your types of your hummus. So explain to us or tell us some of the recipes you came up with just hummus, because I think a lot of people think that when we eat hummus, it's either hummus and carrots and broccoli, like hummus and just pita chips. But you can do so much more with hummus. So tell us what you've created with your hummus.
Goodness, there's so many things you can do with hummus. Like, I have this dish that I created called hummus hash, and you pretty much you saute some sweet potatoes and some red potatoes, and you add some garlic and onions and all of that, and add you some jalapenos in there, whatever you like, whatever kind of vegetables you like, and herbs to create your hash. And then you cook up an egg, whether it's a vegan egg or a regular egg, and you put that on top. Sprinkle a little maybe a little cheese, whether that's vegan cheese or regular cheese, and then you put a dollop of hummus on there instead of putting ketchup. The hummus is your condiment. And so with each bite, you're going to get that symphony of flavors. You're going to get that sweet potato. You're going to get that regular potato. You're going to get those herbs and spices. And you're going to get that hummus. It's delight in every bite, honey. Yes.
I kind of hate I asked that because both Niehla and I are on a juice cleanse as we speak. So my stomach is just like, that sounds so freaking good, Niehla. Oh my gosh.
As I was talking about it, I was like, oh, my stomach. But that's all right, because tomorrow when I have that, honey, that chickpea tuna, oh, yes.
Ooh,
I'm so excited.
So tell us, how can we get in touch with you regarding your hummus? How can we purchase your hummus?
So the ways to purchase my hummus are really to contact me on Instagram, DM me, and I do ship. However, I'm going to be on a hummus hiatus for about a month. I'm working on some administrative things, and I'm also going to be moving around a little bit. I won't be stationary, and my company is me. I am the homegirl. She is I am her. And so, if there's nobody else, then the things can't be made. But I'm working on some things. My goal is to be in store so that you can go to your friendly neighborhood store and pick up your container of Homegirls Hummus and eat to your heart's content, because it is so good. And I'm not just saying this because I make it, but sometimes I eat it. I'm like, dog, this is good. And I'm like, oh, that's you, girl. You made that. Remember that time that we were comparing our notes about the hummus cereal? Okay, guys, let me tell you the ignorance of the hummus cereal. So when you have that little bit left in your container and you got a couple crumbs of chips left, and you just go ahead and pour them tortilla chips in that hummus, mix it up, and just eat it with a spoon because you want every bite. And I have affectionately called it hummus cereal. It's so ignorant, but honey, you don't want to miss a drop. Okay?
Yes. The hummus cereal is the truth, seriously.
So ridiculous, but it's so bomb.
Absolutely. It is fire. Okay, guys. So keep in mind, don't worry about if you didn't get her name or anything like that. Everything will be written at the bottom of this YouTube video. If you are watching on the podcast, all the information will be left on the subscription area as well. So Niehla, you have started to become plant-based.
I am basing all of the plants, honey. The plants are based
so
in me.
tell us what was your change that made this come about? Like, what happened?
So I love eating different kinds of food, and I have always enjoyed vegetarian and vegan foods. You know, we have some amazing restaurants all over the country, but especially in Chicago, from Karen's, you know, to Handlebar and all those places that serve really good vegan dishes. And so Tesla's been, you know, vegetarian slash vegan. She started out vegetarian and then she became vegan for a number of years, and we dined together and gone to different places and enjoyed some really, really good food. And so, you know, it's something I've toyed with for a while. The deciding factor was COVID, quite honestly. I've been toying around with it beginning of the year thinking, what do I want to change in my life? I'm going to be 45 this year. And so my body's not the way it was. It doesn't process things the way it, you know, has done in the past. And so the fact that I'm still well in my body, let me try to make sure that any damage that's been created, I want to reverse that, not first and foremost. So when COVID came around, they were talking so much about inflammation and mucus and how pretty much the disease uses mucus it can use it to kill you. And so I said, well, this seems like the perfect time to give up those dairy items that cause, you know, create mucus in your body, such as, you know, milk and cheese and yogurt and things like that. And I'm like, you know what, I might as well go ahead and start this journey. And so I had been reluctant to watch What the Health for quite some time because I knew that once I knew everything that I needed to know, it was going to be a done deal. And up until that time, I wasn't ready. So, honey, starting in, I don't remember if it was March or April, because today is Tuesday. So Thursday of this week is going to be, I believe it's going to be 8 weeks that I have been on this, you know, vegan plant-based journey.
Congratulations.
But thank you so much. You know, once I watched What the Health and I started to learn a lot of things and started researching things, and once I watched Forks Over Knives and, you know, our other friend recommended The Invisible Vegan, which is on Amazon, I was like astonished and I was infuriated with the things that I was learning about our healthcare industry. In addition to the things that we see playing out every day on the news, you know, in terms of this sickness and how it's not being combated and how it's affecting people of color, you know, Black and brown people, much more than it's affecting, you know, our white counterparts. And so, you know, when you live in a world that doesn't really value you, you have to learn how to value yourself. And how you value yourself, you take an interest in you. And how do you do that? You do things that are good for you. And, you know, I'm a person who, yeah, I'm a plus size girl and whatever. A lot of times people look at, you know, larger people, plus size people, and they feel like, oh, well, you must not love yourself. Everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's their thing. Maybe you like to smoke crack. I liked a tasty burger. You know, I liked good food. You know, maybe somebody is an nymphomaniac, whatever the case may be. Everybody has a thing. Just because I wear my thing doesn't make me less than. And, you know, I will, you know, always be a plus size woman. But for me, it's about getting my health together and really making changes that are going to be, you know, effective for the long term. And if I live in a country that has a healthcare system that doesn't really care about me, I got to care about me. I got to put my health first. I have to look for doctors who will take an interest in me because we know the disparity in the healthcare industry and Black women. A lot of us are dying on the, you know, the birthing table because nobody's believing us. People are not listening to us. They think we are being dramatic and exaggerating, just like everybody thought the police thing was an exaggeration until we saw it for our very selves. We're not going to get into that, and so for me, it's about taking the initiative. And I'm not going to get it right 1,000% of the time, not every day. I'm still new on this journey. My fallback was having fish every once in a while. If I have fish once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'm still winning in these streets. You know what I'm saying? But even now, like, my desire is, like, if I have fish maybe once a month, because I wasn't having fish every day. Like, I've had it probably 2 or 3 times in this 8 weeks, but I don't really desire flesh of an animal. And during this time of COVID and protest and stress and Black Lives Matter and all those things, I have found a love of watching cute little animals on Instagram that I will share with my friends. And I am in love with miniature pigs. I've always had a love for mini pigs. I always said when I made my first million, I was going to get me a royal dandy, a little miniature pig. I was going to get a black miniature pig, and I was going to name him Bacon Bits. And he was going to be my friend. He was going to be my pet and a pet for my family. And I still desire to have a pig, but now even more so because I don't eat them no more. So I won't feel guilty about that. But, having that love of animals and seeing the value in animals. And I think for a number of years, or for centuries, decades, Black people have been conditioned to certain things in this country. We've been given scraps. Our diet has not been the best because of the things that have been presented to us. When we, came on this cruise over to the United States, all expenses paid, honey. Get on that boat and take this cruise over here so that you can work for free and be abused. And then, being given the scraps from the table, the things that are the least desirable, and us taking those things and learning how to season them and making them desirable. And now soul food is all the rage. It's a delicacy. Everybody wants it. That was what we had to use because we didn't have anything else. And it's a way that we've learned how to eat, even in our diets with sodium. My sister is a nurse practitioner, and she taught me that Black people have a sodium sensitivity. It's in our makeup, which is why we have higher cases of high blood pressure. Because not only, the food that we've been given to eat and that we've, it's been our tradition to eat like this, but that food is not even good for our bodies. So we have to unlearn a lot of the things that we have learned or been conditioned to do. And we have to take our health into our own hands. And it's by knowing better and doing better. So not looking at somebody else and be like, I don't know how you eating that, but you're saying, oh, I want to make something for you. Try this. What do you think? Do you know that doesn't have any meat in it? I remember years ago, the same day Whitney Houston died, I was making chili for my family. And I made them this chili from soy chorizo. They had no idea that it was a vegetarian chili. They had no idea this was soy chorizo. And they were in love with this. And I said, just so you know, no animals were harmed with the making of this chili. And honey, my daddy was from Mississippi. He is a meat, he will have meat cake if he could. Like, that's the kind of man he was. Like meat, deer, pig, cow, everything. Grew up on a farm in, Mississippi. And so it's just time for us to take our health into our own hands. Just like you take your career into your own hands, take your love life into your own hands, take your personal development into your own hands. It's really time for us as Black people to take our health into our own hands. Because honestly, right now, the way that our country looks, we have a fight on our hands, and we have to be well and we have to be strong in order to survive the things that are coming against us and the journeys that we're going to have to take. It is such a pivotal time. But if you're not well in your body and you're laying in a hospital bed, you are susceptible to anything. We got to be strong. We got to get out here and fight. Yes.
Yes. You bring up a lot of points. One point I wanted to mention is that I feel like a lot of people think that, diseases are genetic and diseases are hereditary, and that could be part of it. However, I feel like it's more so we're eating the same way that our moms, dads, grandpas, great grandma did. And so when we change our attitude toward that, toward the whole food system, I feel like a lot of us are going to be in just a better place,
I definitely will. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yes, there are things that can be passed down in your bloodline, but you don't have to accept those things as truth for your life. And just let me share something with you that I've not shared with you. Like, I went to get a physical last week or whatever, and my doctor diagnosed me with high blood pressure. Now, I know my numbers have been a little elevated, but to this extent, she was a Black woman, and she's like, listen, is your numbers always high? I hadn't had a physical in a long time. And I was like, they're teetering. She was like, no. She was like, you have it. I'm going to diagnose you with this medicine. Take this, take that every morning, yada, yada, yada. And when I tell you, I was really in a really sad place last week for a number of reasons with everything going on in the world, but also because I was looking at the way that my life was going. And I love my parents and I love my family, but there are certain things that are in my DNA. My mother has been on high blood pressure medicine since she was 19 years old. And she didn't have high blood pressure because of being overweight. She had it because of some of her circumstances and the stress that she was under. Well, my mother has taken a water pill her entire life since she was 19 and taken a high blood pressure medicine. And so when I went to this pharmacy to get this hydrochlorothiazide filled and this blood pressure medicine filled, it just made me feel a certain way. Because I said, here I go repeating history. No, no. And I had to take myself out of it. And I said, no, because you're making changes to change your relationship with food, to change the things you eat, to change the way that you conduct yourself in this world. And it's not going to be the same. My mother has some health conditions, but for the most part, she is good. But there are certain things that I can do better because every generation should want the next generation to be better than they were. And so sometimes our parents will give us a hard time about, oh, you vegan now. My mother, anybody who doesn't eat meat, she calls them vegan. She does not
trust me,
consider.
I felt the wrath of Miss
Yes.
Brenda Ollie.
Yes. And she has questions. My mother's a person, like, let me just preface it with this. My family, sarcasm is in the genes. We give people a hard time. We always got jokes, and my mother is going to take control of the situation and be like, now let me ask you this. She wants to know, what, why, who, when, and where. And she wants to know honestly, she wants to know if you know why you're doing what you're doing. And the reality is the best way to be able to communicate with someone is to come from a level of understanding and education and share things with them that they may not have known. Like, I didn't realize, like, from, that our healthcare industry, doctors are not trained on nutrition, and they're not trained on healing. They are trained on medicating and for you to survive with those conditions. But honestly, a plant-based lifestyle can help you to reverse some of the things that are plaguing your body. And if you can heal yourself, and as you like to say in quote, is it Socrates? Let thy food be thy medicine. It's so true. The more you know, the more accountable you are for the decisions that you make in your life. And so you have to remember, why are you doing this? What is your reason? What is the end game going to look like? And so today I can make a decision because I know that when I'm 50, I want to be running and jumping and cartwheeling and twerking and pop locking and all the things. I want to be wearing my shorts and still looking like I'm a good 33. And so I will be, most of my friends are young. I have a youthful spirit and I need to be young in my body. And so I'm going to take some of the age off my body. That's why we're on this 3-day cleanse and I feel good. Yes. And thank you for being such an inspiration. As I've learned so much from you about being a vegetarian and then being a vegan. Learned a lot from Tamika about the term plant-based. And it's just a very interesting dynamic that a lot of us are not really as familiar with. But there are so many options, but I cook so much and I love to cook. So I like the challenge, like, oh, I'm about to take this like Popeye's chicken sandwich that everybody was acting crazy about and that I enjoyed. It was good. And now I learned how to make a vegan version of it. And honey, when I tell you I made it from a friend who does not like mushrooms, she can't stand the best bone in a mushroom's body. And I know mushrooms don't have bones, but I just, old school phrase. I made this sandwich for her. She almost lost her mind. She said, girl, this is good. And she can't stand mushrooms. So it's really trying to figure out what are the things that you love. And of course, not eating a deep fried mushroom sandwich every day that tastes like Popeyes. But if I have a craving for that, I'm going to make that for myself because that's my alternative. And it does not include meat.
Right. But now I'm curious to know, what type of mushroom did you use for this sandwich?
I used oyster mushrooms.
Ooh, those are my favorite.
Mine as well. But I also want to try the enoki mushrooms and the lion's mane mushrooms
Yeah.
that Tabitha talks about, because I really want to make that crab cake situation. So there's so much out there that we don't know about because some of our scope has been limited, but now this is the time for us to research and expose ourselves to different things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like before I became, a vegan, I had no clue that certain, I mean, I had never heard of quinoa before.
Mm-hmm.
And now like I have to have quinoa in my house. So
Yes.
it's just so crazy. But thank you for that. And I feel like you've already kind of explained this to people. Like, what type of advice would you give to someone who's trying to transition into a plant-based diet?
The same advice that people give at these anonymous associations, whether it's Alcohol Anonymous or Drugs Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous. Every day is a new day by day. Wake up and make a choice. What choices am I making for myself today? And what is my why and what's the end game? I decided I'm going to have a plant-based life. So first of all, I'm going to remove every item that is not plant-based from my kitchen to make sure I'm good, you know, and that way I can be free from that. I don't even have to have that craving or be susceptible to the craving because it's no longer in my house. But don't concentrate on what you can't have. Concentrate on what you can have. There's so many good things out there, but the first thing is a made up mind and knowing why you are deciding to do this. What does the end game look like? Just like when you go to college. Well, nobody wants to get up and go take this horrible, college level algebra, at 7 o'clock in the morning. But what is your why? Because I want my degree. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
guess what? It's the same thing with becoming plant based or anything else in life that you want to do. What is the reason you're doing it? What is your end game? So every day is another step to getting better and being closer to your goal. And for me, my goal was to be plant based. And I'm one of those people, once I decide to do something, then I'm doing it. And that's what it is. And so I decided it. It hasn't been hard. Listen, I love sour cream. I'm that girl. Honey, they got vegan sour cream. And I don't even have to be mixing it up myself for the cashew
Right.
nuts. So I can buy that from the store. I don't use cheese a lot, but when I use it, honey, they got Daya, they got um Mikos. Like there's so many different options. And so everything doesn't have to have meat. And I started to really, when you really think about flesh and you cook it without all the things that you're disguising it with, the taste of chicken is really not that great if you don't put the seasonings.
Right.
So I can use those seasonings on something else and
Yeah.
make it just as tasty or even better and feel good when I'm finished eating it.
Great point. Great point. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I couldn't live without meat. But do you really crave the meat or do you crave the seasonings in the meat? Because would you have meat without seasonings? So,
And honey, you thought you couldn't live without your ex-boyfriend and y'all broke up and you still alive. How about that? So there's what my mom always says, the only person that life cannot go on without is you.
yeah,
So that's the same thing for everything in a consideration. There's nothing in life that's going to make you or break you but yourself. So you make the decision, you do it. And I'm not saying that again, perfection. But what I am saying is you have a made up mind and every day is a new opportunity to get it right, even if you get it wrong. I have not had, like I said, I've only had, fish or shrimp, but I haven't craved any chicken. I smell it and I'm like, oh, I haven't craved any bacon. Honey, tempeh bacon is the best thing since sliced bread. And honey, that TTLA sandwich from Whole
okay.
Foods. I'm sorry, I know we on the cleanse.
Woo! And I just had one of those sandwiches, last week?
Honey,
So
they
good.
put so much, so filling and so good, but there's so many different options. So don't concentrate on what you have lost, concentrate on what you've gained.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Niehla, I'm so glad you've watched What the Health because I have a big question. It's a major concern in the vegan world, plant-based world, and I just need to know, where are you getting your protein from?
Girl, I get the same place that the meat get their protein from.
Really?
Yes, because our cows are grazing on grass. They're eating grains or chickens, because people feel like you gotta have if you don't eat meat, you won't get protein. First of all, you don't need like an ignorant amount of protein per day.
You don't.
Spinach, lentils, any kind of bean, cauliflower, vegetables have protein. And when was the last person who was the last person that you met that came back from the doctor and they're like, girl, I got to talk to you. Girl, what happened? Girl, I'm protein deficient and I don't know what to like, get out of here. Like, but I feel like that's such a question that people have been conditioned to ask, because that's the one thing that they got over you is like, well, where you gonna get your protein? Oh, let me tell you how many grams of protein are in these things that I'm consuming. I probably have had more protein today than you've had. So, and I didn't have to eat flesh. And it's, nothing against flesh, no disrespect to those people, but our meat doesn't eat meat. It eats grains. It eats, vegetables. So that's where they get their protein from. That's where we can get our protein from.
That's excellent. Well, Niehla Ali, this has been amazing. Could you please tell my audience how we can find you? Any upcoming events or things that you may have coming? Please share.
Well, first of all, I love how you said my government's name. Be looking for the launch of the Homegirls Hummus website within the next few months. Be looking for some lives. I had started doing lives for my makeup page during the pandemic because it was what I needed and it was what I felt that people needed. It was a great community of people. So now I'm going to transition those lives right on over to my Homegirls Hummus Instagram page and start doing some cooking demos, some prep demos, talking to people about beans, talking to people about chickpeas, talking to people about the different ways that they can make hummus. So I'm definitely going to use my my platform on social media to really, really, really push my product. I want more people to know about it. I had started shipping my hummus, and I just shipped off, some hummus to Virginia this morning. So I can't wait for her to try it. But those kinds of things are coming up. I am working to be better and I'm building my brand to be greater. And, at the end of the day, Homegirls Hummus is an entire mood, and it's tasty, it's delicious, it's sassy, it's fabulous, it is me. And so I'm a reflection of my brand, and I just want to make sure that my brand puts its best foot forward. And so that's what I'm working on, building me and building my brand.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for being a part of Radish on the Runway. This has been a great interview. Guys, if you have not followed Niehla Ali, please follow her. She's on Instagram. And Niehla O for your just personal page. Then your makeup page is Niehla O MUA.
Niehla O MUA. Yeah, Niehla O MUA is my makeup page. Homegirls Hummus is the hummus page. And then my personal page, which is private, but if I fool with you, I'll let you in because I, life away on social media, but I do love the Instagrams. And so I participate regularly.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Niehla. This has been a pleasure.
This was so much fun. Thank you for having me, Tess.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.